The iPhone 13 Pro is the best iPhone for me, and here's why. When it comes to an iPhone, I look for three major things: a reliable battery, a reliable camera, and reliable cellular radios. But as of late, Apple has given us so many options, it really is pretty hard to choose which iPhone you want to go with. You really don't know which one has the best features that work better in your daily workflow. If you're interested in my thoughts on the iPhone 12 Pro Max or even the iPhone 12 mini, take a look at my old videos that I'll have linked down in the description and also at the end of this video. I like to keep my reviews as simple as possible. I'm going to talk about the software, I'm going to talk about the hardware, and I'm going to talk about the overall opinion of this phone and who I think this phone is for. So first up, let's talk about the software. Apple introduced a brand new experience when it comes to transferring your phone from an old iPhone or an old Android phone to the new iPhone 13. This is new in iOS 15 and it is very welcomed. Honestly, I really feel bad that I did not document or take a video of how fast this process was, but I was able to completely copy over my iPhone 12 Pro Max to my iPhone 13 Pro without any issues. It was a simple process that required my old phone and my new phone to be next to each other. I had them both on Wi-Fi networks and they were able to transfer all the data over pretty easily. When the process was over, I had two phones that were pretty much identical, and that is what you want when it comes from switching from an old phone to a new phone. Focus modes allow you to do a couple things, and mostly they are around limiting distractions while you are doing certain tasks. So for example, you can have personal mode set up to whenever you open up your Headspace app so that you can stop notifications and calls from coming through while you're trying to meditate. That is a very fundamental reason why I use focus modes. These are little practices that I think make tech mindfulness very, very, very effective. I love the fact that when I'm at work, I can limit certain people from calling me. I can limit certain apps. I can also eliminate distractions that otherwise can waste time. But now you can create an experience around the time of day, your location, or what app you're opening. Focus modes bring a simplicity to my complicated digital life. I highly recommend that you guys try it out and see how it works for you. There are several more features that I have not mentioned here. If you want me to do a video on iOS 15 and some of my favorite features, drop a comment down below and let me know that you want to see it. Next up, let's talk about the hardware. Now, the biggest upgrade this year has been mostly with the camera. And although the hardware of the camera has changed, the software of the camera has also made things much more enjoyable. So for example, with video, you can now shoot in cinematic mode, which is essentially a portrait mode for video. It allows you to defocus the background or the foreground after you take a video, which is crazy, the fact that you can manipulate the focal point in a video after you've shot it. Like, that's insane. The fact that it is capturing that much data and allows you to change it after the fact is crazy that you can do it all with a smartphone. So while cinematic mode is pretty cool, it does have some drawbacks similar to the way portrait mode did when it first came out. Some of the blurring effects around edges are not quite exact, and it does look pretty jarring if you have an eye that is looking for it. Personally, as a photographer and YouTuber, I can tell, but for the most part, everyone else just thinks it looks great. And that's a good thing. So it's a great feature, but definitely know that there are some limitations right now, and it does not look great in every scenario. Aside from cinematic mode, the cameras overall have a phenomenal improvement. I love shooting with these cameras. The ultra wide is so sharp. I mean, it is so much more sharp than the 12 Pro Max. It makes the ultra wide a fun focal length to use. I mean, everything just looks sharp from the corners all the way to the center. There's not much distortion and there's not much, vignetting in the corners that look pretty bad in the past. When it comes to the build of the iPhone 13 in comparison to maybe even the 12 or the 11, you're gonna notice for this size, it is pretty hefty, and that's because of the large battery. I came from the 12 Pro Max, and I personally feel like the battery life in the 13 Pro is going just as far, and it's a smaller package, which is always great if you're trying to keep a minimal everyday carry. When the iPhone 12s came out, I was excited for the 12 mini because of the form factor and the size. It really reminded me of the iPhone 4 and 5 design, so I had to try it. Honestly, it was great during the pandemic when I spent most of my time at home and I had wireless chargers everywhere, but I found eventually I couldn't use this phone for a long period of time away from chargers, and that became a problem. Especially in my move lately, where I moved from Georgia to Colorado, I needed a phone that could last me all day, and that's where the 12 Pro Max came in. But now I have the 13 Pro, and I can honestly say I can get through a full day away from a charger with average usage, maybe a little bit of extended usage from my personal taste, and I still do pretty good. And on top of that, it charges super fast through MagSafe on my car, or even through a fast charger that I plug into. The only thing that I would say is to take a moment and think about what's important to you. Is the camera important? Is the form factor important? Is the screen size important? Is the battery important? Those typically will drive you towards the iPhone 13 mini, the 13, the 13 Pro, or the 13 Pro Max. And any of those phones are going to be the best iPhone you've ever owned.